So, if you haven't already heard, Conan Exiles Battle Pass is being removed in September, and the controversial system will be no more. I touched on the topic briefly in Wednesday's video, but after a little more time to distill my thoughts on it, today we're going to explore the topic a bit more and see if this is actually a good move for the game. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's not beat around the proverbial bush here. The Battle Pass was pretty controversial, definitely more so around its introduction. Battle Passes aren't really the done thing for survival games like Conan, but despite that, I think it turned out alright, if not kinda good. As long as you completed it, which wasn't that hard at all, you basically got a bunch of free stuff after you'd finished the pass, and got your $10 worth of Crom coins back, which you could then save to invest in the next Battle Pass at no extra cost, or you could put it towards something in the Bazaar. To be fair though, I know not everyone had that experience. Trying to complete the Battle Pass before the Chapter 4 changes was arduous at best if you didn't use the single player admin method, and I think there were definitely issues in communicating the changes made to the pass in the Age of War Chapter 4 that made it seem even harder to complete, when in reality it was a huge speed increase. That was perhaps one of the biggest problems of the pass in general, and that was that the ideal way to complete it was kinda obfuscated. Before the XP changes, it probably took 2 to 3 weeks of 10 minutes work a day, and afterwards it took 1 week of probably 5 minutes work per day, possibly less, but those methods were incredibly optimised, and if you just wanted to play Conan regularly, it perhaps wasn't clear enough of what you could do to earn Battle Pass XP in a more efficient way. The system kinda suffered from some bad communication about how best to go about progressing it, which is something that I don't feel is the case for other successful games with a Battle Pass. That being said, I think the actual pass itself was good. I ended up seeing it as basically a free DLC every chapter, as I'd already paid the $10 and had no issues completing the pass, and I've seen some others echo that point too. Despite that, for all of its good and bad, I am in favour of the Battle Pass being removed. As much as I have enjoyed it, I think the Battle Pass brings up a key issue. It's easy to consider the pass as this small passive piece of content, especially when you're wrapped up in other stuff like building projects or if you're on a roleplay server, but in reality it's most certainly not a small undertaking for the dev team. When you consider the artists and devs working on all the visuals and the function of the pieces, especially more intensive items like armour and weapons, I would imagine that is a considerable amount of dev time being sunk just into the Battle Pass. If we're being realistic, Conan's biggest problem isn't the ideas behind new content. It isn't story and lore. I honestly wouldn't even say it's monetization. It's quality assurance, bugs, and testing, and the most valuable resource to balance that out is time. It truly is the most important factor for any project, game dev especially. If the team was putting a large amount of man hours into making the Battle Pass, as much as some of us may have enjoyed it, that effort would probably be best spent on gameplay content, getting things done faster and to a higher standard. There is also the argument I've seen coming up the past couple of days that all the effort that went into developing the Battle Pass is now going to be spent on making content for the Bazaar. Call it optimistic maybe, but I don't think that will be the case, at least not totally. To be brutally honest, I imagine some of the time that would have gone towards the Battle Pass will probably result in more assets for the Bazaar. It just kinda makes sense, but I don't believe all of those assets will go towards the in-game shop. The whole reason for removing the pass in the first place is to distribute all of those resources better across the project as a whole. And the blog itself does say that a part of the work previously put into the Battle Pass will be felt in free content updates and rewards overall. Now to be fair, the dev blog is quite non-specific about where in development those resources will go, so I understand why people will think that it'll go to the Bazaar. The text just says across several other areas of development, which is admittedly quite nebulous. Whilst I'm under no illusion that some of the artists will likely work on the Bazaar stuff, I can very well believe that other artists and developers will be working on free rewards through gameplay content, like the new stuff added to the bounty hunting update, or more technical stuff that's harder to see. In the section where the devs talk about the update cadence changing, they outright said they weren't happy with the quality, quantity, and type of content they were releasing. And after the Age of War, well, I can't help but agree. It's been a mess in terms of quality especially. So with that time freed up by removing the Battle Pass and the more spaced out updates, I imagine a fair amount of work will probably go into back-end stuff or things we might not really see or pay attention to that is important for the game, like testing. The best testing and quality assurance are ones you're not even aware of. Many people don't notice if something has no bugs, but if it does have bugs, it's pretty obvious. In that aspect, Conan has suffered really badly, and I'm under no illusion, the Bazaar will likely get more assets from these changes, but I also do believe that those resources will be spread across development as they've said. That's really something that only time can tell, I guess. If the next couple of updates and chapters come around and there's tons of stuff on the Bazaar but the game is still a buggy mess, then we'll know that was a lie. However, I am quite hopeful for a marked improvement, especially in quality assurance. There's also the thought that Bazaar prices will increase as a result of the Battle Pass being removed to recoup lost revenue. To be honest, I don't really imagine they were making that much from the Battle Pass anyway. After the initial mass buy-in of the Age of Sorcery Chapter 1 and probably much smaller spikes at the start of each chapter, I can very much believe the Battle Pass was diminishing returns at best, purely because of the return rate of the Crom coins. I know some people obviously would have spent their 1200 and then rebought the Battle Pass, but I know many people would have just ignored the Bazaar and then just reinvested those 1200 Crom coins back into the next Battle Pass. If we're talking player data, Battle Pass systems are more geared towards player attention, not so much turning a profit, whereas the Bazaar is, well, basically the opposite. Given Bazaar pricing is so all over the place that it's hard to really draw any meaningful price standard aside from on some of the building sets, but I just don't foresee a price increase in my opinion, though of course I could be wrong. Regardless, in respect to the Bazaar, I'll stand by what I've said probably countless times now, and that is I think it'd be far better if they priced low and sold more, but that's a different topic entirely. For now, back to the Battle Pass discussion. It's all well and good having a Battle Pass if your game runs well and has minimal bugs, but if that's not the case, there's definitely an argument for the fact that you're burning time on a feature where that resource would be better spent elsewhere. Of course, this is all currently based on what the devs have said. I know some people will be disappointed to see the Battle Pass go, but I think most of us would happily accept its removal in exchange for a better product in general. As good as it sounds, the constant snowballing of bugs has hampered the ability to trust the devs on testing and quality assurance, so I think we are going to need to see that improvement manifested in the coming major chapters, mid-season updates and hotfixes to deem this change a success. I really hope it is successful. Conan Exiles has just something really unique and intangible about it that I think really sets it aside from any other, regular survival RPG. I think that's probably why it's remained relevant for quite a while, and even now, so many years removed from its release, I think it could easily be the best survival game out there, but to reach that point, testing, QA, it's gotta come up and it's really gotta improve, because you can have a great concept, but if the execution is just riddled with bugs, like people randomly getting banned or falling through foundations, that really, really hurts the average person who's just trying to play and enjoy the game. If this removal of the Battle Pass plays even a small part in helping to put more time and resources towards making a better product overall, then again, I'm all in favour of it. As for the current Battle Pass, it will be the last one, but it's still active for a fair while, so if you have it, you've got a lot of time to complete it. We'll hear more about the next age in August, and I presume release would be around September time, so there's still 2 to 3 months to complete the pass, more than enough time especially if you use the optimal method. There is a card to my video in the top right showcasing that method so you can finish the Battle Pass as fast as possible. Also, as a sort of side note, seeing as the Battle Pass is going away, I kind of wonder what's going to happen to the older Battle Pass content. In an ideal world, I'd like to see those passes re-added to the game and just become a permanent thing you can complete at your own pace, just to say, hey, these used to be limited time battle passes, but now you can drop 1200 Crom coins and complete them at your own leisure. I think that would be a very good move, but I would put priority on putting those newly saved resources towards bug fixing and quality assurance first. I don't think there's any need to rush to add permanent passes when there's a bigger fish to fry. Ultimately though, I have enjoyed the Battle Pass, yet despite that, I fully support it being removed. Every single in-game issue is made worse by bugs and bad testing. It scuppers the gameplay, immersion, and if you have less bugs and a more consistent product, it's just more enjoyable across the board. Time is the ultimate resource in that regard, and if cutting the Battle Pass will save time that can be put towards improving new and upcoming features and updates, I think that's a very worthy trade-off. And there we have it, some of my thoughts on the removal of the Conan Exiles Battle Pass. Thanks for watching, and of course a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. Make sure you subscribe for more Conan news, reviews, guides, builds, lore videos and more, and don't forget to drop a like on this video if you enjoyed and have your say on the Battle Pass removal in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you soon.